So you want to be a destination wedding photographer? Let me show you how. What's up everyone, my name is Sal Sincata. I am a wedding and portrait photographer based in O'Fallon, Illinois, and I get to travel the world taking pictures of beautiful people in beautiful locations, and I get paid for it. So let's talk to you about how to get started being a destination wedding photographer. I've been doing this for about 15 years now, and I can still remember wanting to get that first destination, and I was scared to death, of course, because I'm sure you're scared as well. Like, do I need permits? What do I do? How do I get there? We're gonna talk about all that in this video. So if you love to travel or wanna travel around the world, practicing our incredible craft, and you want somebody else to pay that bill, to pay you to work, who doesn't want that travel schedule? I know I do. Tip number one, the first thing you need to do is let your clients know that you actually travel. You would be shocked how many of my clients have no idea, or in the beginning I should say, had no idea that I actually traveled. They were like, oh, you would travel to New York? You would travel? What am I, living in a cave? Who doesn't want to travel? I don't know, some people don't. I have people on staff, they don't love traveling, or they don't travel too much. Maybe they're sitting on the other side of this camera. You have to let your clients know that you actually travel, and it seems like the most obvious thing in the world, but update your website to say something like, for us, I think we have New York, Chicago, worldwide. If you put something like that on your site, you don't have to put every place you travel to. That doesn't make any sense, right? Like now you got every country in the world listed, or like, you're like, no, I don't go to Greece, the water's too blue. So of course, you're gonna just say worldwide, but it lets your clients know and gets them to start thinking about the fact that you will travel to different destinations. So that's tip number one. We just gotta let our client base know that we do in fact travel. Now this is where things get a little bit squirrely for most photographers. You can't just say you want to travel to a city or a destination. You have to actually show work from, around the world. I'm not saying you have to go to every city, take pictures in every city around the world, every country. That's just not practical. But you have to have enough destination work on your website, in your portfolio, so that clients get the gist. Hey, this guy travels around the world, this girl travels around the world, photographing all these incredible locations. They can handle my wedding at this particular beach, right? Back in the day, I don't know, we used to get these ridiculous questions like, have you ever shot at the such and such church? Like, it's a church, man. It's the same church as everything else. It's not that different. So we don't get those questions anymore today, as you can imagine, but it is helpful to be able to show that work so that people know that you do in fact travel. So how do you get started in that? Like the easiest way to do it, for me, I'm in Illinois, I'm in Southern Illinois. St. Louis is my main market. But if I wanted to travel to Chicago, New York, LA, schedule a weekend getaway. Go away with your significant other, right? Take them on a vacation. They need a vacation. Everybody needs a vacation. Why wouldn't you give them a vacation? Give them a vacation. I feel like we should have a word count of vacation. Go on vacation, schedule some time with a bride and groom, a model, make a casting call, but you want to come back from that city with images from said city, right? So if I'm gonna say, hey, we photograph in Chicago, I'm gonna show pictures from Chicago, from New York, from LA. And so now that you go to my website, you're not just seeing pictures from the same pictures that every other photographer is going, all the places they're going to. Think about this for a second. A bride and groom are getting married, and they're looking for a photographer, and they're going everywhere looking for a photographer, and every website shows the same thing. I'm in St. Louis, so every wedding photographer in the area is showing pictures of the St. Louis Arch. Oh, I can't stand shooting the St. Louis Arch anymore. Don't want to do it. I'm about to put a boycott in my contract. But I get to your website and you're showing pictures from Chicago, from international work, et cetera, et cetera. Even if that couple is getting married locally, you appear to be 10 times better as a photographer because why? Well, you've traveled the world and your pictures show for it. Nobody's gonna ask you like, is that a real bride and groom or is that does it matter? It doesn't even matter what they are. You're showing your work in another city. So you have to make the investment in traveling and invest in your portfolio, invest in your craft, and showcase the work you can do in these other cities. Again, it doesn't necessarily have to be international, but they should be somewhat more exotic than whatever your local market is. Tip number 3, learn how to travel. If you don't travel, it can be very overwhelming going overseas, going to another city, scheduling your airfare, your hotel, permits, coordinating things. It becomes overwhelming. I've seen people break down where they can't handle it. I've been fortunate enough to be traveling the world for 15 plus years now. So these are just things you start to take for granted when you're traveling, and you get unsettled a bit, right? Everybody gets a little unsettled sleeping in a hotel versus your own bed, not being able to go to your favorite coffee shop, right? And have to get it someplace else, or a brand you're not familiar with. It's just unsettling, it's unnerving, and it happens to all of us. So you have to really learn how to travel. Do some scouting ahead of time. There's nothing wrong with that. Like, do Google search, figure out where your hotel is, what's your favorite food or restaurant, figure out how far that is from the hotel. What do you like to drink in the morning, coffee, breakfast, figure all that out. You want to be as comfortable as possible when you're traveling. No one wants to be uncomfortable when they're traveling. So keep that in mind. That's an option for you, right? You really do have to learn how to travel. It's just amazing to me, like getting to an airport and understanding that you have to go through TSA. You ever see those people who are online and they're like, they forget that they have to take off their shoes, or they have to take their laptops out of their bags. Side note, pro tip, as a bonus pro tip for you, sign up for TSA Pre. It'll change your life if you travel at all, because then you don't have to take off your shoes, you don't have to take off your belt, you can walk through the airport, calm music is playing. It's a completely different experience than when you don't and you're waiting on that cattle call line with 100 other people. So the TSA line pre-lines are usually faster. Trust me on this, make the investment, you're welcome. Tip number 4, look for iconic locations. If a couple is bringing you to another city and they're bringing you there because they love something about that city. So don't go to a park. A park is a park. A tree is a tree. Go do something that's iconic for that city so that anyone looking at these pictures can tell, whoa, that's New York City. That's the Chicago skyline. That's the Roman Colosseum in Rome. Like, you want them to be able to see this stuff and recognize it, right? That's the point. So I just photographed a destination wedding in Tuscany. I'm just coming back from that. And if I had taken my couple and just put them in a vineyard, is it a vineyard in Tuscany? Is it a vineyard in, California? Like, what's the difference? Like, so I needed some iconic images, and we did. We went to Rome. We took some iconic images around, the city of Rome. We were in Milan. Like, so we had all these beautiful images that are somewhat iconic and at least look different, and that's what's going to get people excited. Okay, so look for something iconic in that city. Now, if that is your local city, like for me, St. Louis is my local city. I'm so tired of shooting the St. Louis Arch, it makes me want to blow my brains out sometimes. But guess what? Photographers coming in from other cities are like, oh my God, the Arch is amazing. Try shooting it for 15 years. Not amazing. Tip number 5, charge accordingly. The biggest mistake photographers make when doing destination work is not realizing how much more effort is required than if you're just shooting a wedding locally. Look, if I'm shooting a wedding locally, it's a Saturday, maybe my timeline starts at 10 a.m. and I'm going till 6 p.m. or 8 p.m. It's a 10-hour day, whatever it is. When I'm done, I'm done. I go home, pack my bags from the wedding, I go home, I take off my shoes, I relax, I'm in my bed, all that other stuff. When you're doing destination work, that is not how it works. Typically, you're shooting the rehearsal dinner the night before the wedding. Why? Because they have all their friends and family in from wherever from wherever they're from. So typically, you're gonna shoot the rehearsal dinner the night before, and also typically, you're gonna shoot a bridal portrait session the day after. So there's a lot more work involved on a destination wedding. So charge accordingly to make sure you're getting your fair share. I mean, that's very, very important. Bonus pro tip, got a lot of pro tips for you. Book your own travel. Do not let your client book your travel. You will thank me 10 times over after you have your first client experience with booking travel. Why? Look, I love my clients, but 9 out of 10 are always gonna opt for the most cheapest option possible. They go cheap, man. So what does that mean? That means they're putting you on a flight that's on the, just a miserable part of the day. Hey man, I don't wanna take a 5 a.m. flight out of St. Louis because you got to save $100. I'll pay an extra $100 so I can get on the later flight. Also, the more connections you have on a flight, the cheaper that flight is. I am not flying on 3 connections, 2 connections, direct only. Why? Because I don't want to have my bags lost in the transfer. I don't want to have a 4-hour layover. Again, because you got to save a few $100. So these are things I've learned over the years on how to control all that. So you've got to book your own travel, book your own hotel. And this way, and you build that, you charge them for that, right? You're not paying for that. You're charging them that line item. You're not going to make money on that, but you're telling them, hey, I'm going to send you the receipts, but you've got to cover travel. And the thing to consider there is when your flight changes for whatever reason, a cancellation occurs, you have to change your hotel. When this stuff is in your name and on your credit card, you have more control than if it's under the bride and groom's name and on their credit card or their itinerary, because now you can't change all that. You have to get in touch with them. It's a bit of a nightmare that I've experienced. So keep that in mind, right? And I don't know if you're interested, if this is helping you at all, but like, subscribe to the channel for more content like this. But let me know in the comments if you're even interested, and we can talk about like how to properly charge for a destination wedding. I don't know if that's something you might be interested, but let me know in the comments below and we'll produce that content for you. One final thing before we go, so many tips, pro tips. You should just have a pro tip video. That's what I think. What kind of gear do we need? I am gonna do another video, so remember, subscribe to the channel so that you get notifications, turn the bell on. Can we make like a little ding noise? I'm gonna do that, like turn on the notifications. Like just a little flick on the notifications. Ding. I like it. My 3 favorite lenses when I am traveling. You gotta have the Holy Trinity, right? So my camera equipment, using the Canon EOS R5, love it for weddings. It's the perfect camera. I get asked all the time, what do I think about the R3? I don't use the R3 for weddings. I don't need it. Too much camera. The R5, perfect. 7200 lens, 2870 lens. So you gotta have the Trinity. And then the 1535. I'd show you the 1535, but we're filming on it right now. And then the 4th bonus lens, if your budget can afford it, is the 50mm 1.2. You will love this for almost any wedding situation. Whether you're shooting on a beach, whether you're shooting indoors, this is a perfect prime lens for your kit. So that's it for now, guys. Go out there, get started, become a destination wedding photographer. Hope you enjoyed it. We'll see you in the next video. Oh. Travel the world.
Look up to the side like you're looking at the camera.
Ah.
This is perfect. This is what real YouTubers do. Now you just gotta be like, before you turn everything on.
Yeah.
And it might be stupid. So
This is, Ellie, I'm standing here like this. It's all stupid. It's all YouTube stupid. There you go, done, boom, drop the mic, that's it. We got so many things. Can we stop recording? I think it's on, done, finito. We're traveling. We got other videos to produce. Stop it, it's over, it's over. Leave, go to the next video. Watch the next video. Like, comment, subscribe. Like, comment, subscribe. Ring the bell, hit the bell. Do it.